and bans really quick for you. So SGS on the blue side, first ban, first pick, banned out Evelyn, Shen, and Malphite. Jokers banning out Lee Sin, Orianna, and Gragas. Sentinels in order, grabbing up Rengar, Corki, Maokai, Kassadin, and Sona. The Jokers taking for themselves Karthus, Aurelia, Ezreal, Skarner, and Leona.
And I have to say, these bans are kind of interesting to me because I know that SGS and Saigon Jokers, they've had this long history between them. But Saigon Jokers, all of the games that I've watched, Nixwater, far and away, his favorite champion is Karthus. He's very strong with Karthus. Every game that he could get him in the World Championship, he played him. And most of the games I've watched, he's playing Karthus. Archie, his #1 champion is Ezreal. And, for both of them to get their #1 champion, Junie as well, the #1 champion there is Leona. And we've seen QTV play a lot of Aurelia as well, though QTV did play Rengar. Tofu Boy has the Rengar now. And Maokai on Violet is also probably his strongest champion. So SGS, they picked up 2 of those champions to keep them off of Saigon Jokers. But they gave them a really strong team that they're really comfortable with. So that's going to be an interesting thing to see. And you see they're already moving down. They're actually moving down. They're close to picking up Corki or Chaui there. But then we'll be able to back around the side. Tofu Boy, everyone's in a really dangerous spot.
You got the wars going on down. There is the stuns coming down on the Hallelujah, but he does flash out of there. He is ignited. It gets to the safety of his tower, but the Jokers are still in pursuit. QTV taking some free shots from Sona. They back on off through the Tri-Brush. No kills going down, but a few summoners actually blown on the Jokers, but no real return, but they're still hungry for more. That bush is mutually warded. So both teams, the Sentinels, they do know the Jokers are still around. They're still getting some free shots while they can.
Well, and the Jokers right now, they have better poke than Singapore Sentinels do. Singapore Sentinels, they have good CC with Maokai where they can just quickly try and turn on someone and pick up a kill. But I think Saigon Jokers is at the benefit here. So Saigon Jokers can keep on pressuring them, and they can sit here forever. Like, if both teams are stalling each other out, there's no disadvantage for going in the lane. QTV, he takes some quick damage, but they're all grouped up. Leona jumping in. Darkness is very close to going down, and it seems Junie, is he going to be the first blood?
Yes.
He is. So Corki picking up that kill, but SGS almost turning this around. It's an even 2-for-2 exchange right now, trying to finish this.
Maokai does go down, double kill for the Karthus is then, he's actually going to pick up another
can we get a double ace level 1?
That would be nice. Chaui with the Q, getting the kill down on Ezreal, and Nixwater is on his own, and he's out of mana. He's in an unfortunate 2v1, and he's got a long way to go before he actually gets to the safety of his tower, but he may just actually get there.
Yeah,
his
he
is pretty much
able
done
to back
chasing
off
at this point.
So SGS coming out with a commanding lead after that level 1.
Yeah.
It's 4-3, so fairly even, but Corki got the first blood and 2 kills, whereas Ezreal got nothing. That's the big change. Karthus is in a great situation. That's going to be kind of scary for Kassadin. Usually Kassadin has a really serious advantage over Karthus, and you expect Kassadin to just completely dominate that lane. However, what that means, the early gold advantage for Karthus means that he's going to be able to get probably a really fast Catalyst. And so having that extra health and that regen will actually help him a lot in lane and allow him to transition into quick MR or something. So that's going to be interesting to see. But the scary thing for Saigon Jokers is how devastated their bot lane is. Corki is in just such a commanding lead down there.
Yeah, he's already backed. He's got the longsword and the ruby crystal, so he's going to be looking for a quick phage. And Ezreal, I mean, why he's so popular as an AD is because he can be so safe. But when you have phage procs that early on, the mobility goes down a little bit because he's with a very aggressive support. If they're on the defensive end, Leona's not going to be doing really too much, at least not until he hits 6, but even then there's still only 1 more stun. And we paired up with Sona and Corki, that can be quite aggressive. So Archie may not be, he's not enjoying life right now, frankly.
Yeah, and like you said, with Corki and Sona being so aggressive and having an advantage over Leona early on, Leona is someone that kind of you need to all in order to win your lane or to exchange any harass. But Corki and Sona can exchange harass a lot more passively and be fine. Maokai is coming down the bot lane. This is the biggest weakness with Leona, is the fact that it's very difficult for Leona to escape. She doesn't have a lot of survivability. If you can catch her out of position or bait in a Leona pull, then the jungler can turn it around very quickly. So Maokai coming down, but the early pink ward helps them out a little bit, but it's kind of funny because they're just using it as a regular ward because both teams were very aggressive early on with warding, and that meant that Leona didn't have any wards left originally to drop, and so she has the pink ward, but not able to clear out any wards with it, I don't think, unless I missed one. But Tofu Boy kind of being pressured here by Skarner, doesn't quite know which way to go. He
should be able to get out of there, but he's going to end up going the long way around. He's pinched. He's pinched. He really doesn't have many places to go, but Violet decides to commit, actually go the long way around over by tower, and that does allow Tofu Boy to actually sneak on out towards the back. Violet will be getting no engage there, nothing like you wanted.
And he was really waiting for the minion wave because he can either fight in the minion wave and use the minions to his advantage, or just get Vision of Skarner. So he had Vision of Skarner. It allowed him to make a better decision than Skarner was able to on which way to turn. But yeah, so pretty even so far. I'm kind of curious. As Saigon Jokers in the past, when we've seen them play, they tend to be very passive early on. Most of the aggression comes from their jungler, Violet, and we see Violet in the mid lane once again trying to get in on Shawty. He does not have the flash, so they're able to chase him down. One more lane waste will be able to take him down. There it is. Actually, the flash from Nixwater getting in to pick up the kill, so he does exchange there. But Nixwater is very close to going down. The Ignite, just barely, not enough to take him down.
Almost the minions OP moment. Meanwhile, bot lane, plenty of harass going down to Archie. Good cues from Sona, getting all the damage you need in. And you see, Archie continuing to be on defensive here. He's falling slightly behind in farm. It's only about 5 creeps now, but the lead can stand to extend. And all of that harass from Sona, it's free damage. He's only got 1 health potion left. He can't be drinking that thing forever. He can't nurse it all night. He's eventually going to have to go back.
Yeah, he is being worn down by Corki and Sona. But going back to what I was saying, Violet for Saigon Jokers, he's really kind of the linchpin for their team. Their bot lane's very strong as well. They go in for kills. Maokai, he's sitting up top. QTV goes in for Tofu Boy, but he's pulled himself into a bad spot.
Nice.
He's actually almost able to get out, but the flash from Hallelujah, he's able to get that twisted advance. He's able to get the slow. QTV will go down, and that's exactly what needs to be seen out of Hallelujah, because Violet is so aggressive for Saigon Jokers. They need to counter that out with an equally aggressive jungler. Having Maokai definitely helps them out a lot, but they probably also need to move around a little bit as a team. Don't play Saigon Joker's game where they're very comfortable with sitting around in lane. Try and be aggressive and roam around as a team to pick up kills, and that's partially the benefit of Kassadin on Choi. Choi is, arguably the strongest player on Singapore Sentinels, and having such a high mobility champion in the mid lane, it could potentially allow them to move around the map and counter out some of the aggression from Saigon Jokers that comes from Violet.
But of course, in order to have that high mobility, you do need to be 6. He is now. He wasn't earlier for that gank, but that's pretty much all of the aggression are going to be able to get on mid. So at this point, now mid is convincingly a free farming lane, which against, for both champs, it's a very threatening prospect. Karthus, we know what Karthus can do once he gets crazy farm. Kassadin, he can just push the wave, go down and roam into other lanes. Right now, Lyle is just taking way too much damage from Violet at this point. Enough. There's the heal bait coming on in. Completely negates the Karthus ult, unfortunately. You did have Kassadin coming on down, but Choi is spotted out by the ward in the river. Junie throwing one into the tri-brush, but there is the silence, there is the slow. You got the shield up, Darkness, he's flashing in, he wants to get it.
I thought he had the twisted advance.
I thought he had something, anything, but no, Hallelujah just could not get in there, just could not get that CC in.
Yeah, so it's kind of unfortunate. They don't really get any advantages out of that, and it allows Nixwater to farm in the mid lane, but it was a great call. That was kind of what we wanted to see out of Choi, is for him to start moving out of that mid lane and force fights around the map, but they need to be able to convert against Saigon Jokers. So Saigon Jokers doing a nice job of retreating there, and part of it has to do with the great map vision that they have. They had vision of Kassadin coming down that river.
It also looks like both of our mids are actually going to be going for the Rod of Ages route. And Karthus, it's not too uncommon. He wants to get tanked. He's going to be out in the front line. He may very well be suiciding later on into the game. But Kassadin, sometimes you'll see the tier. Sometimes you'll see things like, even if you want to go super aggressive, you see something like the Abyssal. But this kind of tells us that Choi he's looking to be a bigger presence in these fights. He's looking to stick around in fights a little bit longer than usual. In order to do that, you do need that extra help. Well,
that's exactly right. In Karthus, we expected him to get the Catalyst because of it gives him some mana, but it gives him the sustainability and survivability in lane. A lot of times, Kassadin, he can just spam his Q, and the silence and damage just easily wins that matchup. But having the early HP allows Karthus to farm a little bit more evenly, and you see he is ahead of Kassadin right now. So that's going to be nice for him. But then Kassadin, on the other hand, he wants to know that he's tanky enough that he's not going to go down quickly when he's trying to be aggressive. Violet, again, moving in the top lane, though. Tofu hasn't seen him yet and actually doesn't spot him with his ward.
There you go. There is the ult coming in from Aurelion. There is the pull back into tower range. Pops the ultimate, but he may actually be able to get out. Yes, he will. Going to have some sneaky footwork. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, you got the shutdown onto the Karthus.
Karthus close to a double kill.
Chow. He's just,
no, never mind.
yeah,
No ultimate.
No ultimate. He used it earlier on bot lane. That's the heal bait out from Lili. Actually, helped save him earlier. And of course now, this is we had the changes to the global ults quite a while ago, so it is definitely a longer cooldown than we're used. If this were a few patches ago, he may have had it.
Yeah, and so far, you see, I mean, Karthus is doing very well for himself, the 4-0 early on, but now we're probably going to start to see some pressure in the mid lane, because Karthus is usually a very vulnerable mid lane. Maokai and Kassadin, that's a really aggressive matchup. So Karthus, they need to get ward coverage around the mid, and Skarner's probably going to need to hang out there a little bit more, because they need to know that they're just going to constantly pressure Nextwater. But we'll have to see how that's going to work. So far, bot lane, not as significant of an advantage as you might expect when Corki started off to such a degree, but Ezreal's done a really nice job of continuing to farm in that matchup and just keep up, using his Mystic shots for the range, and just a slight advantage for SGS.
It is still, well, it is quite a bit of gold, though. I mean, it was over 1,000 gold difference.
From the kills, but at least the CS in lane, Corki has a considerable lead because of the early kills, but Archie's doing what he can to not fall further behind.
Junie going for the engage. Darkness getting very low. Here comes the Karthus ult once again. This time you'll be getting a kill because the Summoner heal is not back up yet. Archie has no choice. He needs to flash out before he dies, but Leona sticks around a little too long. There's a Valkyrie. He's going in for it. Double kill for the Corki.
He just got out.
Turret shot will not be reaching. He's just out of range, and there is Maokai to help pick up. Skarner caught in the twisted advance, but here comes Nextwater. Triple kill for the Corki. Wall of pain.
Wow,
and Karthus suddenly realizes this is a bad idea.
Yeah, really great job, and that's exactly what SGS needs to do to be able to beat Saigon Jokers. Saigon Jokers is doing a really nice job of coming down, to that bottom lane. Skarner trying to get in range on Corki, but they didn't have vision of the rest of SGS, and so Corki did a nice job of repositioning himself so that he was constantly dealing damage to Skarner, but didn't have to worry about getting hooked, because if he was hooked, he was done.
Yeah.
But really nice job by SGS. Now, you see there's not a lot of ward coverage anymore for Saigon Jokers, so that really they need to get that ward coverage back out there and get Violet confident where he can get that Oracles, because right now Hallelujah with the Oracles on SGS is really taking advantage of that map control against the Saigon Jokers.
Yep, the Oracles in combination with the Move 5 boots, which is actually not all too uncommon of a combination. You see it quite a bit. One GP10 is more than enough to support that, provided you don't do anything risky and you don't lose the Oracle straight away. But I think he's gotten his money's worth just for how long he's had it so far. And any wards he gets through it from this point on, it's going to be a little bit of an added bonus. And Maokai, he's a pretty deceptively tanky dude. He's got his passive. He gets quite a bit of health back pretty fast in the middle of those team fights with all those spell casts. So he should be holding on to that for a little longer, but key emphasis on the word should, because anything could happen, he could get caught.
Yeah, no, that's definitely going to be a dangerous situation. If SGS loses that Oracles, that could really quickly snowball it against them and in Saigon Joker's favor. But we've seen in the past, Saigon Jokers, they're really comfortable with playing the long game, and Karthus is farming very effectively so far, only being beaten by Corki. Hallelujah coming up in the top lane, just going to spot him out a little bit, and Tofu Boy has enough of an advantage that Skarner can't really engage on that, so really nice job in that lane. But Karthus, if Karthus can farm effectively and the Jokers can hold off long enough, then they're going to be in a good situation. And I remember you were showing me this video that was released not that long ago, earlier, where the Taipei Assassins, they were talking about who they thought they would probably meet in the finals for the Garena Premier League. And they were kind of mixed. It was half and half, SGS and Saigon Jokers. So a couple of them thinking that the Saigon Jokers have just been looking really strong recently. And we saw in the World Championship, they did have a couple of pretty exciting matches, only beating Dignitas, but still in a decent showing. Yeah,
it's weird. You have the Jokers. I mean, they're starting to come into their own. They've had quite a bit of great performances lately. But Sentinels, they have been on the downturn. A lot of the tournaments that they've participated in, even when they came over for face-off, the performances that they were placing were well, not quite as expected. A little bit under what I think everyone kind of wanted. Even in the Stars War League, they actually ended up last in their group. Like IG and Najin Shield were in their group. You had a whole lot of others a whole bunch of other lower tier Chinese teams. They couldn't even beat them.
Well, it's interesting to me, though. You talk about some of their disappointing performances, and they've actually been moving around their roster a little bit as a team.
Yeah.
Because Darkness, he originally was their AP carry before Choi, and then Choi moved into the AP carry position, and Darkness was actually playing AD at faceoff. And SGS as a team, they were incredibly aggressive during that tournament. They had really great play as a team. They were ahead of TSM in one of the matches, like 8-0 at one point, when they were running Jarvan and Karma. That really aggressive, strategy that could pick up kills. But the issue was Darkness fell behind in that game, and he was outmatched by Chaox, really. But since this change, now we see Darkness is running the support lane, so he's still comfortable with that matchup. But they have, LI4 running as their AD now, and that's been the change since in the summer, and that seems to be working out well for them, and we'll kind of see how that continues to progress.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, I believe Lili was actually their like a sub for them, like on the back, and it's like realizing, well, all this though, all these lane switches, all this preparation was waiting for what's going to happen after this match when Tofu Boy is no longer with the team.
Yeah, that is kind of the concern, because they are trying out a new top player, I think, but haven't had the most success with him so far. You do see SGS trying to pressure the top. The Joker is going to be grabbing that red, and then Choi actually going to be moving back in the mid. But Choi, he's keeping up for the most part with his farm. He is a little bit behind Karthus, and especially the 5 kills are helping him out. But here's the engage, and Choi is actually going to try and zone Karthus. But right now, Hallelujah is going to drop really quickly. It just matters how much can Tofu Boy turn this around.
If you can take out Violet, that would be ideal. At least get an Oracles for an Oracles, but I don't think that's actually going to happen. You got Choi coming on. He wants to get the kill on the Karthus at the very least. Give Tofu Boy some clearance to try and engage on it to the Aurelia, but here comes the Karthus ult, going to front with some more damage, and that will be enough to at the very least, keep them back. And look at Violet managing to get away, managing to hold on to that Oracles. And we talked before about that Maokai. He was careless, he got caught, push checked right there, and that's an Oracle's gone.
Well, I thought Choi almost could have gone around the back side and just rift walked across the entire jungle to try and chase down Violet. Nice. There's the ultimate from Darkness, the quick damage. Archie, he's actually going to get over the wall, so very close to getting out of there, but Choi is just barely going to have enough damage to take him down. Oh,
Ezreal, that's cute. You have a teleport. Guess what? I have one too.
And all the meanwhile, Corki's still pushing down the bottom lane, so he's, really putting a lot of pressure on that bottom lane. Rengar just barely recalling out of the top as Leona's making her way up there. So Junie trying to put some pressure onto that top lane and not able to find him. That's one of the best things about Rengar. I mean, in that situation, he didn't use his ultimate, but he can usually escape.
There's Choi with the Rift Walk, wants to get the kill on Violet. He wants revenge. There's the shield go up. Can they actually get rid of this Oracles? Yes, they can. So now a little bit more even from the previous fight. Things have been equalized at the very least in terms of the junglers, in terms of the Oracles. So at least you can go ahead and write home that one with the Sentinels now still with quite a lead on them. 12-6 now. There's an 8K gold lead. That's pretty massive.
Yeah, it is a really nice lead. They have a really strong mid-game team, late game.
Look at the ADs. Look at the gold difference. It's nearly double.
What is this? This is magic.
It's pretty magic.
Yeah,
that's pretty magical.
It really is a nice lead. And having the ADs is such a huge advantage, particularly when Corki has just significantly more damage than Ezreal base. For Corki to have just that much more damage from items is insane. So finishing the Triforce when Ezreal's still working on it, and then also working on his next big item, that could really be the game there, is just the fact that Lifor is just so strong. That he can just control the fights. He can take people down quickly if the Jokers can't engage on him. That's going to be really tough for them. And at the same time, we've talked about how both teams tend to like to have a long laning phase and tend to split up a lot. Well, Tofu Boy, he has complete control over the top lane, and this is his swan song to an extent. This is his last game with the Singapore Sentinels, and he's playing really well. He's at 2-1-2 right now, out farming Aurelia. The Sunfire Cape, it allows him to just bully around Aurelia in that lane, but now he's moving down mid. He wants to see what kind of pressure he can get. He wants to see if he can pick up any kills, and that's going to be key for Saigon Jokers right now. They could actually force this.
Junie going head on in, first pull down onto Choi. keeping him behind tower, but there's the Sona ult to keep everyone stunned for the very least. They can get their retreat, but here comes Karthus with the ult. Is it going to be enough to take down Cassidy? No, will not. He'll live with just about 200 health. Here comes Lyle, though. He's got some missiles. Hey guys, you do not want to be running into any more of these. The Jokers have been deflected, and the Sentinels can actually continue.
Oh, he's going for it. Tofu has it.
Can you do it? Junie very low. The Ignite going down. Yes, you can. Yes, you can, Rengar. Very well done. Ultimate with that leap. And you got a tower to boot on that. And the Sentinels, are they still going to push? No, they're going to fall on back. They are going to steal the blue. And wondering if they're actually going to get a push down here in bot, because that's a pretty huge wave pushing against them. They could just swing that right back through.
Yeah, and they're actually circling back around mid. They see Ezreal and Aurelia are there. They have a 4v2. Skarner's nearby as well. They have to worry about Karthus maybe coming down. They don't know exactly where he is right now, but he's heading down the bot. They're going to be able to get him. Maokai's here. Hallelujah. Try and engage. They turn on to Skarner. Very quickly done. He's like, Skarner, you're a problem. Get out of here. We still have time. We can still pick up these other two stragglers. There's Ezreal with the shift back over to the Wraith Pit. But deja vu. Here comes Choi again. It's like, do you not learn from the last time? Do you forget what I have? And there's do you know who I am?
I'm Caston, man.
Yeah, they really nice play, and they've just such a commanding lead over the Jokers right now. You know, I think they have to be, you know, taking a little bit of the talk personally about the Saigon Jokers, and they were crushed when they lost the Season 2 regionals, and you know, for people to talk about the Saigon Jokers, SGS, their rightful spot for the longest time has been saying that they are the best team or second best team in the GPL and want to compete with the Type A Assassins, and you know, for the Saigon Jokers to try and take that back from them, you can tell they're just you know, not comfortable with that. So really nice play pushing around the SGS, and that's kind of one of the things that is the key against Saigon Jokers, because they do farm particularly well, you know, when they play a passive game. But the early kills and the early advantage for SGS, and then the mobility that SGS used in this game really allowed them to take advantage of the Saigon Jokers and, you know, kind of bully them around. So Saigon Jokers do have to back off. They can still maybe try and pick people off with Violet, but at this point, SGS is looking to push. They're looking to take some turrets, take some inhibitors, and try and end this. So
best case scenario, what are we looking for the Saigon Jokers to actually do? I mean, are we looking to make plays, or are we going to sit back and farm, possibly steal a Baron? What are we thinking?
I mean, that turret for Aurelia would have been pretty nice, but it was actually pretty good timing from QTD, recognizing he needed to get out of there. He didn't have vision, and I don't know if he didn't recall immediately that Rengar wouldn't have killed him there. They need to pick people off. They need to, you know, have like an ace somehow, but it's at this much of a gold disadvantage, that's going to be pretty difficult. The benefit they do have is that Karthus is incredibly well farmed. Their biggest weakness right now is Ezreal. Aurelia's, you know, kind of weak as well, but Aurelia's just going to be kind of tanky. Ezreal almost going down again. There's the Leona ultimate to help him out, so he does get out of there. But that's, you know, whenever you have to burn ultimates and summoners just to let someone escape, that's always very difficult for your team, and that's putting them further behind. But the one benefit for the Jokers right now is how strong Nick's water is. If he can get a good fight off, if they can get the Jokers or the Sentinels to collapse in a nice little AoE, then they should be able to take him down. But the biggest counter to Karthus is going to be that Kassadin, and he's going to try and pick him off in fights. Yeah, and Choi's doing pretty damn good for himself gold-wise. Bang on even for the most part. He's also got the Rod of Ages, so he's a little bit tanky. He's got the Athenes too, so mana is not going to be too much of an issue. That was for the longest time a huge issue on Kassadin. Even if you had like a tier into an Archangel, sometimes in very long fights, it just would not be enough, but at the very least now you get those get that extra mana on those kills and assists, so he's going to be that much of a bigger presence. And the mobility, we saw it before. He was chasing down Archie. There was nowhere for him to go. That's going to be a huge, major tool for SGS later on in. You do have right in front of the Baron Pit, Hallelujah actually swinging on by, has not rebought his oracles. Neither has Violet, actually. I do find that a little strange. Well, at this point in time, they know they're kind of grouping up. Yeah, Junie's got it. And Sona's got it. Okay, you know what? So Oracle's duty has now been delegated to the supports. And that's fine. Both of the junglers are going to be pretty aggressive, so they know if they go down, that's a pretty big gold disadvantage for them. So, you know, they're comfortable with kind of sitting back. SGS, they could potentially pressure this Baron. I think part of the reason is that Tofu Boy is so tanky, but Choi doesn't really add a lot out of that mid lane, so I don't think they will. You know, they would probably get pretty low doing it, so that'd be kind of a scary proposition. But we'll see if they try and pick people off. They're still split pushing Tofu Boy, and they know Tofu Boy is stronger than anyone right now, basically. So he can control whatever lane he's in.
Actually, Hallelujah is actually split pushing himself. That's not something you see every day. It's just a split pushing Maokai. But then again, he does have his friends. He does have those little saplings, which actually are still level 1. Never mind, they're not actually going to be doing much.
Aurelia's going to come in on him.
QTV gets the stun down at Tofu Boy. He's actually tanking the turret also. He has that sustain, and there's a Sunfire doing damage.
Oh, he's crushing him.
And he's crushing both Aurelia while tanking the tower. That is just wrong on so many levels. But meanwhile, the rest of the team, 4v4, imminently about to happen here on the river leading up to Baron, but actually Jokers are actually decided to back away. Violet did have the pull available, saw Corki actually in the brush, but said, you know what, this is probably a trap. This is not the best of situations. We need Aurelia at least with us if we want to engage this, and decides to back off.
Well, and that's the thing. Tofu Boy splitting off Aurelia, it makes it very difficult for the Jokers to take down Choi. You know, they just won't have that enough single target damage in order to take down Kassadin. And, you know, he's already going to win that lane. So Tofu Boy can continue to put the pressure on that bottom lane. And then Kassadin should have even more control over these fights. You see Karthus, he's actually coming down for the blue. He might even come for Tofu Boy, who's actually going down to QTV. He's taking some quick damage. He has to get out of there. QTV, it looks like he might get it. He turns it around. QTV goes down. Tofu Boy, if he can pick this up, he gets the flash, getting away from Nixwater. But in the meantime, they're going for the Baron. So two people have to go bot for Tofu Boy. He gets one kill, and it opens up the free Baron for the rest of their team. Violet's going to try and defend this, but it's going to be very difficult 4v3.
Yes, both of the champs that the Jokers needed in order to fight off this Baron were distracted otherwise. Karthus front loading some damage on. That is the Joker's cue to actually go in. Violet with the pull down to Hallelujah, but actually dies before he can actually bring him out of the pit, but Maokai does still go down. Choi with the Rift Walk wants Archie yet again, but here's the AoE from Karthus. Will it be enough? Yes, it will, but the Baron is still attacking.
Oh, Corki's almost going to go down!
Corki almost goes down to the Baron, but he has plenty of time to actually finish off the Baron, and now Karthus is alone and out of mana. He can't do jack in this position.
The concern is almost going to be if they kill Karthus and then he turns around with that replenished mana from the passive to pick it up. But
red buff Karthus, though.
Oh, Lili, he's trying to get it. Darkness needs to take it for him. He can't walk in this bush. This is the opportunity for him to turn this around. Nixwater trying to get it. One more lay waste. He can't quite pick it up. The flash from Corki to get out of there. And that last fight was great, but QTV, he's going to get the double dash, the triple dash off of the minions to get into Darkness.
Tofu Boy's back,
Tofu Boy helping him out, gets him out of there. But that last fight, it was great Baron management from SGS because they knew that Maokai was going to come in. And it started off, they left Baron at about 2,000 HP, so just not enough for it to go down. Tofu Boy, he's going to turn this around, though, along with Hallelujah.
There's a slam, keeping Violet back, throwing down the Maokai ult also. This will prevent a little bit more damage, but I think they're confident enough to finish the fight or at the very least get away safely. And also want to note, too, Choi, he's pretty confident because he bought a Mage Eyes.
Oh, boy.
He bought a Mage Eyes 27 minutes into the game. You know you're in a bad spot, or you know you feel the other team's confident when they buy a Mage Eyes that late.
Yeah, and going back to that Baron fight, SGS, they did exactly what they needed to do, which is they left the Baron at just about 2,000 so that when Skarner came in, he couldn't smite steal it. It was too low, he couldn't do anything. And you saw Darkness actually flashing over the wall to try and get the ultimate. Didn't quite hit them. It was a kind of blind guess ultimate, but it was a great idea.
It was.
And then not only did they wait until after Skarner went down to kill the Baron, but you saw they pulled off to fight, and then Live4, he went back himself to redraw aggro on the Baron, so to not allow Baron to de-aggro. And it almost resulted in him dying. The Baron almost killed him. He popped the heal just at the last second, and Sona got into tank at the last second. But in the end, that Baron was a huge advantage for them, and they ran the fight pretty effectively, though they did almost go down to Nixwater.
And even though you still have a carry with the Baron buff, you still got Corki with it. That's
Judy
still
wants
a
to force
great
this
opportunity. Judy a little bit too far ahead than the rest of his team. QTV going to be going down. Also, Sona getting nearly all the Jokers bringing this tower. You've got Skarner with the pull, but it may not be enough though. Choi actually going down. Karthus with the AoE. Everyone just running right into him, but there's Corki with the damage. He is now ghosted. Archie needs to get back, and that is another quick kill and a quick tower for the Sentinels.
They should get the inhibitor out of that. It's going to be almost impossible for Archie to defend it. There's the Valkyrie trying to get in, picks up the kill. QTV can't turn it around onto Corki.
Archie burned his flash on that too. He still couldn't get away.
Yeah, it was. I think he was a little bit surprised by the burst. It was the Sheen proc on Corki. He just had too much damage, and then I don't know if he hit a crit, but Ezreal went down very quickly, so they're able to pick up another kill, and SGS has just had a commanding lead for almost the entirety of this game against the Jokers. And so you have to kind of wonder, you know, this game, again, it doesn't mean that much for the Jokers. I think SGS, they're still trying to, you know, figure out who they are as a team. They're still trying to prove themselves to an extent. And then also, this is Tofu Boy's last game. So that's the like morale coming into it. Tofu Boy's last game, you have to give it your all. And SGS, they came in wanting to win this one. Saigon Jokers, on the other hand, maybe holding back a little bit for those Garena Premier League tournaments, or for the playoffs. Maybe holding back a little bit. They don't want to give up anything away to the Taipei Assassins. They don't want to give anything away to even the Sentinels, who they're going to be playing in the playoffs.
Right, and even then, this actually may be a signal to the Jokers also, like, hey, we need to change up our game plan. This Karthus thing is not quite working out. We need to figure out our game plan in bot. We need someone who can survive a little bit easier in top. We just need to work on everything completely. They still have time to do it, though.
What about the Karthus didn't work out?
Well, he's not having as much of a huge presence in the fights as he'd like. Granted, he started out fantastically. He did great, but the thing is, though, the rest of his team cannot support him. Well,
he's still, you know, their biggest presence in team fights. He still is giving them just so much AoE damage, and you know, the ultimate also helps take pressure off of the other lanes. The big concern is just the other lanes fell behind too quickly. That's a great call by SJG, trying to pick up a kill there. That's exactly what they need to do to come back, but I still don't think it's going to be enough. But Karthus, for the most part, has been very strong for the Jokers, and it's been their #1 pick. You know, he gives them the lane presence all across the map, and then the AoE's been very strong.
There you go. You got the Sona ult front-loading the stun. Skarner going to be the first one to go down in this fight, but you have Karthus here on the side, the AoE, but the Sentinels actually weaving in and out of it. QTV actually on the other side had a Guardian Angel. It was already procced, and you're not going to be escaping with that one. Triple kill for the Corki. Junie's off on his own over by the Wolves. Choi could just 1v1 him here at this point. Quick, easy done. That is the ace for the Sentinels. 1 for 5 on that one. And this is, that's a very commanding lead. That's nearly 20K at this point. This is just brutal.
Yeah, that is very strong, and the Sentinels, they should be able to end this shortly. They're going to go right for this Nexus. That's probably the game. They have the super minions there. But I think, if anything, what the Jokers need to do with their team, I'm sure they have some thoughts to this. Some of their biggest picks for that top lane are Shen and Malphite. Those are both champions that can really easily contribute to the team out of lane. You know, Aurelia as well. She's very tanky. You know, once you get into team fights, she can help control the fights for you. But she did fall behind early, and a lot of times she was kind of split off by Rengar. Yeah. So the nice benefit of having the Malphite that they use a lot is that the Jokers, they can force quick fights and win fights very quickly with that Malphite. Or with the Shen, they have the teleport coming in. That gives them some more map control. But it'd be interesting to see, or nice to see, if Saigon Jokers can move their top laner down some. And that's something that we've seen a lot from the Taipei Assassins. Stanley, is one of the best, it's probably the best in the world at roaming out of that top lane. And that'd be interesting to see how that would impact the Joker's game plan if they, took a little bit, if they borrowed a little bit from TPA. Yeah.
But also remember too, we've seen the Jokers do the lane swap before. I'm kind of wondering, how often they will bring that out actually going into the finals of the GPL. I'd like to see it again. It worked out very well for him in the past. If it works, he might as well stick with it,
Yeah, no, that's always a nice thing. Yeah. And then when you have the lane swap, some of the times the Jokers, their most aggressive lane is often Archie and Junie on that AD and support. And so putting them in the mid lane, it just allows them to have more map control. When they're in the bot lane, Kassadin had complete map control over that game. It was all about Choi and Maokai. So Hallelujah and Choi, what they could push around the map. And not having the same presence, yes, Karthus has his ultimate, but he can't leave for fights. That's one of the big issues with Karthus, is you tend to have to sit in that mid lane. So that is kind of an interesting thing, how that sending the AD and support mid, it opens up some flexibility for what is essentially their most aggressive lane.
So coming up next, though, we will be seeing the Jokers again.
Yes, we will.
But we will be seeing up against the Taipei Assassins next. So after the break, we will be seeing that. Plus, also, reminder, we are giving away 2 pairs of Gunners, IGN.com/IPL giveaways. We're giving away 2 pairs. Look at just like this handsome man right over here. Look at those. Very well done. This is all you need to do. Go to the site, hit a whole bunch of buttons. You'll be entered into one of these pairs.
Well, go to the site ign.com/IPL giveaways. There's the address, guys.
There you go. We'll see you in just a little bit.
Also, one last link, ign.com/IPL5 promo. Thanks to Ubisoft and Shoot Mania, they want to make sure as many people can come out to the tournament as possible. So definitely check that out. If you're looking for tickets to IPL5, ign.com/IPL5 promo.
GPL matches continue. TPA versus SAJ coming up next. We'll see you in a second.